begin with NewsNation's Joe Khalil on Capitol Hill. Republicans have not been deterred from their impeachment inquiry by revelations their star witness is a liar and a tool of Russia. Today, the president's brother, James, was on Capitol Hill testifying behind closed doors. Joe, what do we know about what he said?
Yeah, we think it's wrapping up soon, but we're in 6.5-hour territory at this point, Elizabeth, for James Biden, the brother of President Biden, as he's getting questioned behind closed doors from a small group of House Republicans on the Oversight and Judiciary Committees, and also Jamie Raskin. One Democrat was in that room this morning as well. All of this focuses on, this is part of the Republican-led impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden that focuses on the allegation somehow that James Biden's and Hunter Biden's business dealings, among others, may implicate the president in a pay-to-play scheme or something of that nature, something that James Biden today from inside that room flat out said, no, that is not happening. He says that for decades, there has always been a wall between his business dealings and his brother's political career, not just when he was president or vice president, but going all the way back to when he was a senator from Delaware. So he says that is absolutely not true. Now, taking a step back here at the inquiry itself, as you mentioned, Elizabeth, there are questions about the credibility of it after the fact that you talked about. The informant himself is indicted now for lying to federal authorities, but we're hearing from Republicans leading this investigation that is not their only source of information. They plan to forge ahead. Take a listen.
Joe Biden goes, leverages, conditions the release of our tax money on the firing of that prosecutor who's applying the pressure to the company his son sits on the board of and makes $1 million a year. So those facts don't change.
So we also heard from Democrat Jamie Raskin, who came down and talked to the cameras here, who says there's no there's certainly nothing that implicates Joe Biden in anything. We did ask him, however, about a report from a few days ago that came out talking about how James Biden was involved in a medical, there was some entity where he did invoke his brother's name. Ultimately, it ended up going bankrupt. But we asked Raskin if that was problematic, and he sort of acknowledged yes, but said that's not what this inquiry is about. Here's how he elaborated.
There's obviously a question about influence peddling in Washington, and there always has been, and that's always touched on political families and presidential families. And again, I return to what I was saying before. That's a legitimate subject for inquiry that should be completely nonpartisan.
So keeping in mind that, again, this inquiry is not going anywhere, certainly not in the short term, Elizabeth. Next week, Hunter Biden is going to be here answering questions also in a deposition behind closed doors from House Republicans on oversight and judiciary.
Yeah, important to point out that Jamie Raskin there was saying, yeah, James Biden might have been trading on his brother's name, the president's name, but there's no evidence the president benefited in any way. And certainly James Biden wouldn't be the first presidential family member who's done that. I think it's happened under every administration. But I'm just curious, Joe, all these Republicans, notably Jim Jordan, was out there for months saying this confidential FBI informant, he's our star witness. Is there any other evidence that Joe Biden did anything wrong? Or did it all come from this one star witness? And does anybody feel embarrassed that they've been out there for months saying this guy is telling us the real scoop, and he's now been exposed as a tool of Russian disinformation?
So I can tell you, I've spoken to a number of Republicans privately on the Hill who have said this raises credibility concerns, certainly with this inquiry. Nobody is certain that they have enough Republican votes, even if there were a hypothetical impeachment vote that comes out of this. The people who are running the inquiry, though, they maintain that they're going to keep moving forward. They say that they have other avenues to investigate beyond just this one informant, Elizabeth. But I think it's fair to point out, as you did, that we haven't seen anything concrete that points to Joe Biden's wrongdoing at all. If you're looking for a smoking gun, I don't know that we've seen anything that falls into that category yet. And there are many Republicans who will acknowledge that. So that at least I think is partially answering the question.
Yeah,
there.
several Republicans have. That's why they were relying on this great source from the FBI who turned out to be not. All right, Joe Khalil, thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.